Today, I have David Giron, a senior analyst and the vice president of Riverside Pride. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself and about Riverside Pride?
Jaime. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here tonight. I really appreciate it for giving us the time and opportunity to come on and speak with you. A new resident to the Inland Empire. I moved to Moreno Valley about almost 3 years ago now. Very excited to be out here, having the opportunity to be a new homeowner. LA's too expensive. It's been really cool. It's been very different. Very first thing that I did when I moved out to the IE was look for my community, right? So the LGBT community. And I looked for like a pride, didn't find anything. I looked for a LGBT center. There wasn't anything at that time. I fell back on Grindr to look for individuals in the area that I can become friends with and talk to and get to know people. When I spoke with a few individuals, I also asked them those questions. I was like, do you guys have anything compared to, like, because I'm from Long Beach. So in Long Beach, obviously Long Beach is like a very big gay city too, has a lot of resources for the community. And everybody was just like, oh no, we don't have anything like that out here. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of sad. And a year after that, an ad popped up on my Facebook one day and it said Riverside Pride. And I was like, wait, what is this? So I looked into it and I saw that they were having their first Pride picnic at the park last year in 2021. I was like, okay, you know what? Let me go look and see what this is. Like, obviously, I'm going to support it. If it's a Pride festival, it's a community. Like, somebody's taking the time to do it, right?
hmm
So I decided, I went and it was a small Pride picnic. And that's where the founder and president at that time was introducing the organization to the community. And he did ask, like, is there any individuals that would love to help us and make this bigger um, and help it grow? And of course, that was like my first thing. I was like, all of our current board members have one goal in mind, to bring a pride community, a pride festival to the Inland Empire that people could be proud of and, not have to travel all the way to Long Beach, LA, or San Diego for a pride festival. People want a pride in their backyard. So that's how I got introduced to Riverside Pride and how I joined it.
Ooh, back in 2010, I moved to Riverside for the first time. I was originally from LA County. I went to school at UC Riverside, and the first thing I did when I finally came out in 2011, I wanted to see Pride. I wanted to see more people like me. I wanted to understand it and really submerge into the culture, but there was no LGBT center. There was no Pride events. There was rarely anything. There was one LGBT church, but I had really bad experiences with churches, especially growing up in a Catholic family. It was just, I didn't want anything to do with the church at the time. And it was really hard to find. So seeing something like this now is something that I wish I had back then, but I can only imagine how grateful the new generation now is that they have a community, and not only for the younger generation, but even the older generation that still live in Riverside.
The community has been super excited and super supportive. I've met many individuals, older and young individuals, and they're just so excited to have us. And they're like, oh, yay, we get to have our own Pride Festival. I can't wait. For example, I met like this young trans kid at a trans pride in Palm Springs. And he was alone and he was like, oh, my mom just dropped me off here because I wanted to come here and I wanted to get to know people within the community because I don't know anybody. And he just felt so alone. Like, listened to him and talked and he was just opening up about his experience and what he's been going through with his transitioning period. He just felt alone. And I think a lot of us, most likely most of us, within the LGBT community have had a point in their life where they have felt alone. They
Mhm.
have felt, well, there's nobody else out there like me, right? So to be able to like be loud and proud in Riverside and be like, we're here if you need us, and when you need us, we're here to support in any way that we can. So the community has been very supportive and very excited, and can't wait for the in a few weeks for our first festival.
I completely agree. I one of the things that I struggled with is I didn't know any people that were gay. I didn't know anybody who was in the LGBT spectrum, and yeah, that sense of loneliness, it can get very daunting. It can create anxiety, it can create depression, and you isolate yourself from even your other friends and your cisgender friends and your heterosexual friends because you're like, you don't understand me. There's certain things that you want to vent out about a boy or the girl or the person that you're dating, but they may not understand because they're dating somebody of the opposite gender or they're dating somebody else. So having somebody in your own community to have those conversations with is super, super important. I think events like this is amazing because you have a place where you have an outlet to be yourself authentically, dress the way you want to dress, wear makeup if you want to wear a dress, if you want to wear a skirt, if you want to wear a button up, a suit, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. People are not going to judge you. If you don't want to wear anything, I've seen people literally in tassels and like a leaf covering their junk, and that's it. There's no judgment, and you be whoever you want to be, and you're going to be accepted like the way that you are. And I think that these type of events are amazing for that. When is Riverside Pride going to be taking place this year?
September 4th in downtown Riverside at the Riverside Municipal Auditorium. So it's going to be indoor and outdoor festival.
Okay.
So we're going to have food, vendors, entertainment. We are our one of our headliners is Mayhem Miller, a local queen. She's very excited to come out and support Riverside Pride, and she'll be there alongside with some other fabulous queens like her drag daughter, Jasmine Simone. And we're also going to have a DeBoer who does the bingo at VIP, and Athena Kills, which I'm very excited for. I've heard nothing but great things about Athena Kills.
So it sounds like a fun event. So indoor and outdoor, does that mean that there's going to be like little rooms where they go in and there's different events? I know like when you go to like LA Pride, there's tents. So it's like kind of that type of feel, but instead of a tent is an actual like place you go in?
We'll have like vendors just as well as like, any Pride festival. When I say indoors and outdoors, so the Riverside Municipal Auditorium is an indoor venue, a venue where they have concerts and stuff. Our main stage will be inside. That's where we'll be having our entertainment. In there, be also the dance floor, and then we'll have a few vendors there set up. Like IHP, our presenting sponsor,
Okay.
who is great and amazing. I love IHP. They will be there as well as some other individuals. And then outside of the auditorium, they have a courtyard. So one of the great things that we're doing is we're teaming up with Free Mom Hugs. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
Okay, so let me tell you real quick about Free Mom Hugs because they're an amazing, amazing organization. So it's a group of moms that will come out to Pride festivals and they give out free mom hugs. So yeah, I know, right?
I would cry. That's amazing. That's so sweet.
They're amazing. They're so sweet. They do like this little like glitter ritual where they like have you close your eyes. They like dust glitter over you and they give you like positive affirmations. And it's super, super emotional.
I'm getting
Like
emotional just hearing about it.
people start crying, and it's just like because they're so sweet and like they give you like these big bear mom hugs, and they're just so accepting of the community and they're amazing. So they are going to be there. And they also have dads too.
Oh,
Which when I saw like the first time I saw the dads, I was like, oh my God, how awesome is that? Because as you know, many individuals, especially within the Latinx community, are run away by their father figures, right? To have dads too is just incredible. And individuals like our people are always crying because as human beings, we always look to our parents. And when we're pushed away because we're opening up about our true selves and to be rejected is the most horrible thing. Truly, truly stays with you deep, deep, deep down inside. Really hard to like overcome something like that. So they are going to be there out in the courtyard. The community has donated doors for this art piece that we're doing. It's going to be like a coming out experience. We're going to have the door set up. On one side of the door, according to that artist, what it's like to be in the closet. Dark days, the rejection, fear. And then when you walk through the door, you're going to have free mom hugs there, standing there waiting to give you a hug. It's an acceptance, like of you coming out. And then on the other side of the door will be what it means to be with a part of the community. We have 7 doors donated by the community. One of them has already been done. And it looks amazing. I was blown away when I first saw it. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. We have Clarissa Cervantes, which is a city council member from Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
She has been another door, so she will be doing one, as well as her sister, a state assembly member, Sabrina Cervantes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both part of the community. They're amazing. And I claimed one door, so I'm going to work with my best friend. I have a few other doors available for others too, if they're interested. So if anybody interested, just hit us up to paint a door. Like it's gonna be great. Hope it'll be a rewarding experience for some. We'll also have an art show looking like an art display. We're looking for local queer artists to display their art. There's going to be like a timeline history as well. We will also be having youth zone for the LGBT youth. I mean, like, coloring. Maybe we're thinking about doing a drag story time where we'll have drag queens. We'll read LGBT youth books. Obviously, there'll be some food and there will be some beverages, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. And DJs. It's going to be a great time, a fun time. So we're all very excited. We've been working really hard for the past year to bring something together for the community and be free and open to the public. And that's one of the things as a board that we found very important, that we want to ensure the festival is accessible to everyone. And that's something that we believe in. So Riverside Pride going forward will always be a free event. It's something that it's made by the people. It's been funded by the people. All the money that we've raised, we're very grassroots. So all the money that we've raised has been because of the Riverside community. It's funded by the people and it's for the people.
That is amazing. And if somebody wants to donate to the organization and for the cause, where can they donate?
Yeah, they can go to our website, riverside.lgbt, and on the main page, you'll see a donate button. And you can go, yes, please, any donation.
There's always a saying I used to use when I work in nonprofits. It's you can donate from a cent to your heart's content.
I like that. I'm gonna steal that.
Use it. It's fine. I'm really excited. Like just by you explaining it to me, I got literal chills. It's super amazing. I love the fact you guys are doing this. I think it's going to be a great event. And I really hope that the listeners that are listening to this will attend and bring a friend or two and then spread the word as much as they can.
Please spread the word. We want everyone and anyone to come out and support. It's going to be a great, amazing event.
To change topics really quick, as a person who's part of the LGBT spectrum, there are some things as individual of this community makes them unicorns. Something that people do now that you've seen on TV or people that you know in the community that you think allows them to be a unicorn, lets them stand out and will help us unite and keep like supporting each other and bringing us together.
That's a good question. The thing that I've seen the most is when individuals get to be their true authentic selves and everybody's just very accepting. Being within the community, a lot of us do face rejection. We know exactly how that feels. And I think that one of the best qualities that we have within the community is being accepting of others and be judge free. Let them live their own lives. Mind your own business.
Mm-hmm.
If I paint my nails, or if I want to wear a dress, it's nobody else's business but my own.
There's something that a friend once told me, and it really just stuck with me. Everybody around you does not need to change themselves because you feel uncomfortable. You have to be able to really see and question yourself, why is their behavior making me feel uncomfortable? What insecurities is that bringing out of me? And not reflect those into other people. Like you said, mind your own business, fix your inner demons instead of projecting them into mean hatred things into other people and putting them down, because people are living their authentic lifestyle. And you may feel envious of that because you're not able to be the person that you are. Don't dim their light.
Yeah. Preach, because that is so true. Why do you care so much about this other person that's living their own life, minding their own business, and you have to just get in. Like, why does it bother you? So totally agree with that. Like when individuals do things like that, they have something that they're dealing with within themselves. Maybe they might be in the closet. They're jealous, get to live this life and have to hide who they really are. Or they just did in something that they think others within their circle wouldn't agree on. You said, like, work those demons. Stop projecting your own insecurities onto others. Right? I totally agree with that. I live a life where I'm very honest and very upfront with my intentions. And there's a specific reason why, because years ago I decided why am I going to waste my own time and energy and making lies? That's just going to like give me wrinkles. And then I have to like remember it's too much. So if you just tell the truth, you don't have to worry about getting caught up. You don't have to worry about, oh, wait, did I mess up or something, right? Just tell the truth. I tell it how it is. And it's so funny that when you are very honest, people think you're lying and they don't believe you. Quick example, right? So I love Grindr. Lord knows I love Grindr. And the reason why I love Grindr so much was because when it first came out, it was a resource that you could use to find other people within the community
Yeah.
that were just like you. I've created tons and tons of friendships on Grindr. And that's the reason why I use Grindr is to make those type of connections and make friendships. And yes, I'm not gonna lie, I have dabbled,
I mean, who
but
hasn't? we're
right? Like,
we're humans at
but
the end of the day.
exactly. So, but the main reason that I use Grindr for is to make friendships. Like, and then when other people like don't believe me, they're like, "Oh yeah, you don't use it for that," or like they'll be like, or they have like this bad like idea about Grindr. I'm like, well, that's just because that's how you use it. Like projecting your own intentions on how you use that app onto like me. But that's you. And that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But don't project your own stuff onto me.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think what you said is important. So you need to be persistent and consistent. So if you're
Mhm.
gonna say you're there to be friends, then just be consistent with that narrative, and people will eventually start believing you. And the reason that they don't believe you right away is because they're so used to the negative stigma that Grindr brings in, because it is known as a hookup app. It's known as a, you know,
Yeah.
hit it and quit it type of thing. So it
It's
makes it
so sad
it
because I
is.
love Grindr. I have a Grindr shirt in my closet.
And but this can be said with any dating app like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. Anybody can over sexualize the app and use it as a hookup app because it's intended to be a certain way. It depends
Do
on how
they?
do you, yeah, they do. I'm like wanting to go to genuine dates, and then people are like, no, I'm just looking for somebody to hook up. And I'm like, well, this is not necessarily
Really?
that's this is
Okay.
not the right app, but like you said, it doesn't people can use it for whatever intentions, but the biggest thing is be authentic and be honest from the get-go, like you
Mhm.
said, because if you're putting a facade to lure people in and then you're trying to again change it just to gain something, that's manipulation. And that's what people creates the negative effect. And that's what creates all the good guys like yourself that people just don't believe anymore because they're like, no, he wants something else because this other guy did the same thing, but he ended up just like messing with my head. And it's just showing them through consistency that you're not that person and you're not going to be a repeat of whatever that may be. And then just change, like, really challenging the social norm of it. I've met some really good friends from Grindr, and it's been 10, 15 years that we've been talking, and nothing sexual. It's just been like a platonic friendship, and we have the greatest of times. And you can create authentic relationships and even romantic relationships through that if you really put in the time to make it that way. If you're in the field, no matter how authentic you are and whatever equipment you have, you're going to have some weeds. So you're going to have to pull the weeds out so that you can get to the flowers, so you can get to the fruits, and you can actually enjoy community that you build around yourself. You have a garden, you need to make it perfect based on what you want and take things out that don't really work for you. So in that case, you doubt the people that are not really there for the right reasons that match with you and your intentions. But with that, and I want to kind of circle back with the other example that you said with having people demonize other individuals for being themselves. I just have a really good example that you reminded me of. A few years back, I used to have such a judgment. I used to keep it to myself, but I would just be irked every time I saw somebody dye their hair, especially after like a traumatic event. I don't know. I know why now, but back then I didn't know why it upset me so much. And
Okay.
I was like, that's unprofessional. That is like rude. Like, it's just not, they're never going to get a job like that. Like, I don't understand why they're wasting money. And I was full of self hatred regarding that, just because I was very judgmental on that. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I went to therapy. And I really realized that I don't have a good relationship with my father. My father, I'm one of those individuals you talked about that left um anything, wanting to do anything with me because I came out. And he like believes that I'm gonna rot in hell and blah 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 blah. So he used to always think that, dyeing your hair, keeping your hair too long, things like that was feminine. You don't have to do that because you're a man. That was so ingrained in me, in my thought process, that every time I saw somebody that dyed their hair, I was like, that's overly effeminate. That's bad. But through therapy and breaking it down, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I can dye my hair, and I did. I ended up dyeing my hair blonde with blonde streaks, when and I felt very liberated. And I was like, I get it, why people do this. You know, I do think that there is a limit, because if not, you're gonna bleach your hair and it's gonna die and fall out. So be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful, have fun with it, but be safe. Make sure if you're doing it at home, read the directions carefully and consult with the hairstylist. Set an appointment and get it dyed, because I've seen so many great people with luscious hair just have their hair fall off or break off because they set the bleach in for like too long and it just starts falling off. But it's just, you have to be able to work with your inner demons in order to get through, because it's not their fault that you have things you have to process. So, being an individual in the gay community and, planning events like this, what is one of the biggest challenges that you feel you're going to be facing, or you have faced in the community by doing something like this?
I think the biggest thing that we have faced has been getting the people to come out. There is individuals that are very supportive and they are very excited that we're here and that we're making these events. It's been very hard to try to get more people to engage. And sometimes it's kind of like pulling teeth. Sad because then you have some individuals that are like, oh yeah, this is never gonna work out. Like, oh yeah, you guys are never gonna be Long Beach Pride or LA Pride, or why even waste your time? It's all like those like negativities coming within our own community, which is kind of sad, but just keep pushing and just be like, well, we're doing something. Like our board is all 100% volunteer. Like this is a second job, second full-time job for
Oh yeah.
us. A lot of work, and it's a lot of closed doors. It's a lot of non-responsive individuals. Like, and it's frustrating, and it's sometimes, it's very overwhelming, and it's just like sometimes it's like, well, why am I doing this? Like, I don't need this additional stress. Like, I don't, like, trust me, have a very stressful life with my job and everything else that I do. Like, I don't need to add all this additional stress. But at the end of the day, then you have those individuals that look up to you and they're like, thank you. Thank you for existing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting this together. Like, we need this. And it's them that like we just continue to make this for, right? Like, so we made a comment earlier about the youth. Like, they need somewhere to go, right? They have questions and they don't know how to deal with some stuff and they don't know who they can trust. I'll give you a perfect example. I celebrate Pride 365 days a year. I have a Pride flag outside my home and it's been hung out there for over 2 years now, loud and proud. Uh, Maybe a target, but I've never had any bad experiences yet. Last year or the year before that, during Halloween, kids were coming, they were knocking on the door. I was giving out candy. And then there's like this kid, 13, 14 years old, and he's the last one. I'm gonna give him his candy. He like leans in, whispers to me, oh, I love your flag. Me too. And he like smiled and walked away. Oh my God. And I get kind of emotional because it was just so amazing to hear him say that. Like, made me feel really like good on myself. He knew what that flag meant. And he knew that whoever was living in this home was a safe space to
Hmm.
make that type of comment too. And I think that's why Riverside Pride is very important, because these individuals that have questions or have doubts or have fears can turn to us, and they know that they will be accepted.
I agree at 1000%. Something that you said just doesn't sit right with me. And it was something that somebody told you. Like, it's never going to be as big as LA or San Francisco or Palm Springs and things like that. I think that's just ignorance by the
And
public, because especially the newer generations that don't know the struggle that we went through. As a millennial, I was here when it was illegal to be gay. You can be incarcerated for being gay. Marriage for like a quick second, and then we got our marriage taken away. And then not until 2016 we got it back. And now we're getting in another wave where we might get it taken away again. And it's been like all of this back and forth. And all of this has been through one person saying, I'm fed up. I want something bigger. I need something better. I need equality. I need to be heard. I need to be seen. None of this shutting me out and leaving me to the side. And it's people like you, people in your community, people in the committee that is allowing something like this, something beautiful like this to blossom. And like you said, the little kids that see this and will have a brighter future with this, they won't know that it started today. You know, what they're going to see years from now is that they see this a community event that happens every year, hopefully 50, 60 years from now. It's one of their favorite events to go to because it's local. They don't have to drive 3 hours, pay $50 of entry and parking to an overcrowded event that half the time it isn't even that fun. The stuff that you mentioned is very authentic. It builds a community, and that's what Pride is about. We're forgetting the roots of what Pride is. It is not a party. It's celebrating our differences, celebrating our diversity, our who we are as people, and like what we represent. And it's just being a community. And
yeah,
people forget that. I just want to get drunk and I want to have a good time. Okay, yeah,
right.
do that. But
That's fine.
but remember why you're there.
Yeah,
Remember why we even have Pride. Not just another holiday that we're just gonna let it go by and just not really appreciate it. It's something that we have to celebrate and really truly connect with. I have one more question for you. I had a fantastic time interviewing you so far. So, if you had one piece of advice for a youth right now that's either debating to go to something like this, or they've never been to a pride, or even an adult who maybe is struggling with the fact that, you know what, this seems interesting, but I don't want to be judged, or I don't want to like out myself out if I'm not ready, I'm in the closet or whatnot. Like, what is one piece of advice you can give to listeners that will help them take the step forward to try to be more authentically themselves, like you said, and to be more comfortable?
take a leap of faith and just let it go. All these fears that you might have, fears of like of the rejection or the judgment, like just let it go. Everybody will always talk shit. Sorry, excuse my language,
You're good.
about something or about anybody. Like they will always like nobody's ever going to be 100% happy with the type of person that you are, whether if you're part of the community or not. So why waste all this time and energy on trying to make other people happy? All these negative influences in your life, just go. Like, and you are going to live a much happier life and a more authentic life. Once you start being your true authentic self, it's so liberating and free and amazing. And then once you start feeling good about yourself and start spreading that light of sunshine, you start attracting people that are going to love you. So have those people that get excited to see you when they see you, when you look at them and they're excited and happy to see you, those are the type of people that you want in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones that are going to uplift you and get you through difficult times and let you be who you want to be, who you are, and without judgment. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you.
And Jesus loves you. God is all about love, and God doesn't judge people. church that has done that, and the church is the one that has shunned people out. So don't believe that.
Yeah, I've shied away from organized religion for the same reason because when I came out, my priest told me that I was never allowed to come back again. And I was very glued to my church. I used to be leader of a youth group. I used to, do readings, Bible readings every Sunday. I used to go 3 to 4 times a week. I was part of a Catholic group at UC Riverside. I was very ingrained with the Catholic community. And once I came out, everybody turned their back on me. And I was left alone, like all in an instant, like I didn't matter. And they said, if when you choose to put that sin away, you can come back with us. And
Mm.
it was so heartbreaking that I had to sacrifice being me in order to fit in with them. And I was just like, when is that ever acceptable? When ever do you have to change a part of yourself to be included with the group? And that's where you're like, never. Like, if somebody says, you need to stop being Hispanic, you need to stop acting Hispanic in order for you to be with us. What does that say about you? What are you trying to sacrifice in order for you to fit in with that group? And I was like, no, I'm going to find people that are going to accept me for me and be part of that group. And through that, I became more spiritual. I do believe like in a higher power. I believe in God and I believe in Jesus and things like that of that nature. And one thing that I've learned and I always say to people is God or whoever you may choose to believe in does not believe in hate. So if you're receiving hate from others, that is a human error. That is a human emotion. Don't
Mhm.
attach that to a religion because religion only shares love and acceptance, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you were born or how you choose to identify. Love yourself because God loves you and we love you. And the people who don't, you don't need them in their life. Sashay away.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Thank you so much for being on here and the podcast and allowing me to interview you. This was a lot of fun. And if our listeners want to follow Riverside Pride or any other events that may be coming through that, what are some social media handles that they can kind of look you guys up?
All social media, so Instagram, what is it, Facebook, Twitter, at Riverside LGBTQ.
Riverside LGBTQ. Perfect. Thank you. And when is Pride again?
September 4th in Riverside at the Riverside Municipal Auditorium from 1 to 9 p.m.
Feel free to follow them on Instagram, social media platforms, so that you can keep up to date with any latest news. And if you have some extra dollars, feel free to go to their website and give them a donation so that things like this can continue happening. The more, the merrier. And once again, if you like this content and want to continue following this podcast, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Any last words before we close up?
Thank you so much for taking this time. Like I mentioned earlier, I really, really appreciate it. And you're great. You're awesome. I love finding the unicorn in you. What you're doing is amazing too. Like, I love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye.